In there we want that mince, we want that gravy. Oh, we want that veggies. Come on there. Oh yeah. That is sensational. That is comfort food at best. That is mince and cobbler. Look at that. That's our mince cobbler made. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick today. Old school mince cobbler. You know, this is one of those recipes that we grew up as young'uns, and you know, people are just forgetting how to make this, and it's so simple. It really is. It's chuck it all in a pan, make some cobblers, chuck it in the oven, finished. Really easy, delicious, filling meal. Serve it with mashed potatoes or veg, whatever, entirely up to you. It is a fantastic, easy recipe we all grew up with. Okay, pan on. Now it's oil or butter, your choice. That's a little bit of oil. And we are going in there with our mince. We want to be cooking this mince off. Now this can be made with chicken mince, pork mince, lamb mince. This is beef mince. Not a problem. In fact, it's still virtually frozen, but not to worry. We're not going to worry about that. So just give it a little stir around. There's going to be some water come out of here because it was frozen meat. Now I am going to season it now. A little bit of salt. A little bit of black pepper, nice and easy. Just let it cook in there, you know. It's going to cook out that water. When the water is reduced, we're going to chuck in the onions. There's no point boiling the onions in all of that. Now what we can do with this, even though there's a lot of fluid going on in there, I'm using British mixed herbs. And there's a link on the channel if you want to go make them, it's up to you. Now I'm going to use mixed herbs in here, and I'm going to use mixed herbs in the cobbler. You could use dry thyme or parsley. In fact, you can use anything you want, it's up to you. So I'm going to go in there with a pinch of mixed herbs. And that can rehydrate in there with all that water and oil and that meat. So that meat's going to be cooking with flavour. There's no particular time when you want to put it in. You know, you can put it in with the veg, you can put it in with the gravy. But you know, this is going to flavour this up. All going to bloom in there, rehydrate. Super. So nice and steady. So once you've got that water cooked off and you're down to the oil in there, onions. Now it doesn't matter about the veg because we've cubed it up small. In there, carrots. In there, celery. So it doesn't matter at all, you can just cook that together in there with that oil. That's a nice pan of colour there already, look. Fabulous. Now a little couple of minutes on that and then we chuck the garlic in. Okay, clear yourself a space and in there with that garlic. Nice little bit of oil coming in there, look, to cook that garlic. Fabulous. Stir it in. So easy, a nice straightforward cook this one. Okay, we want to be going in there with a good tablespoon of tomato puree or tomato paste, whatever you know it by. In it goes, stir it in. Just cook that in there a little minute. That'll cook out the sourness of the tomato. Fabulous. I'm going to heat it up with a splash of Worcester. If you prefer Henderson's and you have Henderson's, use Henderson's. So just give that a little minute in there. Right, beef broth, make out of a cube. If you make out of a cube to make your broth and it's watery, you have to make a cornstarch slurry. Okay, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water, mix it together and you put it in with your beef broth, your stock, 500 mils. If you make it out of gravy granules already has corn flour in as a thickener, so it's going to thicken exactly the same. This is made out of powder, so this is going to thicken. I will not be adding cornstarch slurry, so just give that a little stir in there, and we're going to give this a cooking for about 10 minutes. It will thicken slightly and all those flavors that are already in there will all come together. That is going to be our gravy and our filling, and our cobbles will sit in there to make our mince cobbler. Just keep giving it a little stir. Okay, once you've got a nice gravy like that, don't take it too thick. You know, it's going to cook in the oven with the cobbles in. If you cook it too thick, it's going to dry out. And we want mashed potato or veggies on our plate swimming in the gravy. We don't want a dry gravy mix. So that is just about perfect, for me anyway. So I'm going to turn it off at that, and that is just going to cool in the pan whilst we make the cobbles. In here, self-raising flour, a little bit of salt. So you can put pepper in as well. There you are, there's a little bit of pepper in there for our cobbles. And we are going to put in a pinch of herbs. We're going to make herby dumplings. So that'll do. We don't want to go too much. Nice little stir through there, look. Okay, to put our cobbles together, we want to go in there with our butter, and we are just going to put it in there like we would make pastry. We're going to rub it between our fingers and thumbs. So get your hands in and just bring that in. So we'll bring this in, and then we'll chuck some cheese in, and then we'll put the milk in and bring them together. And we'll save some cheese to go over the top. So there we go, we've got our butter into there, in there with a little bit of cheese. Come on, we're making cheesy dumplings. Put that in there. Maybe there's a bit more, come on. We're eating it. Fabulous. In there, milk. Bring it in. We want a dough, but we don't overwork this. If you overwork it, you're going to get quite thick, stodgy cobbles. So just bring it all in, and we're going to get our hand in and make it into a dough. So it's just lightly, just bring it in. Just get all that dry mix in there, that flour. Nice and steady, look. So that's it, just one side. I'll just brush this flour away and we'll put it together. Okay, grab yourself a tray and grab yourself a dish. This dish is an 11 by 9. Okay, we want to get our meat mixture in there, straight in the bottom. Cobbles, you can make them as big or as small as you like, bearing in mind that they've got to go on your dish. So just squash them down. Now, if you squash it out too thin, you ain't going to get very big cobbles. And really, it's not about big, thick sized cobbles. They're not dumplings as such. It only wants to come down to about 3/4 of an inch, something like that. And then just cut it out. Cut out as many as you can get. It's up to you. You don't have to be even. Should we get another couple out of that, I reckon? Right, all we got to do now is dump that on there. That will do. We don't have to be too neat. The cobbles are going to come up. What we need to do is go on there with a little bit of cheese, because we're making cheesy cobbles. That's going to give us a little bit of extra old school goodness on there, look. Nice and steady. And we're going to whack that in the oven. That's going in the oven for about 25-30 minutes. Come on. There's a proper old school comfort smell right there. Look at that. That is our mince and cobbler. Look at that. Awesome. Come on, let's get that out of there. There you go, look at that. That is absolutely sensational old school mince and cobbler. Wow. On there, mashed potato. In there we want that mince, we want that gravy. Oh, we want that veggies. Come on there. Oh yeah. That is sensational. That is comfort food at best. That is mince and cobbler. Look at that. That's our mince cobbler made. Superb. That is absolute comfort right there. Crispy top with that cheese on there. Stodgy bottom where it's been sat in the gravy. And if we split it, light and fluffy. Look at that. Perfection. I love cobbles. I love dumplings. Oh. Those herby cobbles are absolutely fantastic with that beef mince. Delightful. Cheese in there, cheese on the top. What a flavour. Come on, these old school recipes are fantastic. People have stopped making food like this, you know. Why? It is sensational. It's easy to come together. It's filling, easy to put a dinner on the table for a family, you know. And you can have more mince, you can make more filling. It doesn't matter. Make more cobblers. Make more cobbles and stick them on. Enjoy your mince cobbler. Well, there you go. Sensational meal right there. Really is old school, traditional, what we grew up with. I love it. I hope you enjoyed, and if you do enjoy, share with your friends and tell them how easy it is to make mince cobbler. Old school recipe. And if you do like what we're doing, big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. And we'll definitely catch you in the next video.